from that, I'm a mother of 5, married to a wonderful man who's the total opposite of what I am and who I am. But more than anything, it is my greatest desire to love and to live for Jesus. So when I was asked a few weeks ago to say my testimony, I said yes. And I'm learning to say no a bit more often, but in the last few weeks I've been thinking, I've been looking back at my life and the events and things that have happened to me that have showed me just how amazing and how wonderful God is. I could stand here today and tell you the story of a little girl who was born into a Salvationist home, who grew up and gave her life to Jesus at 8 years old, but who never really had an encounter with him. Or the little girl that grew up to be the perfect junior soldier, Duncan would know, or co-cadets, and even wore uniform. But I had so many questions, and I grew up in a culture that didn't quite like the questions. And I grew up in a culture where I didn't quite fit the mold. And so I was not encouraged to be who I was. Then I grew up to be a young woman, a young adult who then made so many mistakes in her life. The mistake of lifestyle, choices, in marriage, in living a holy and pure life, in finances. But I thank God that when I look back on those things that have happened in my life, I see the hand of God throughout all of that. And that's really my story this morning, is to tell you that, you know, even though people said, yeah, she's the middle child, and psychologists in this room would know how perfect the middle child is, and how we follow rules. But even though people saw me as not fitting the mold, God said, I've got a purpose for you. I made you for a purpose. And even up to this stage, I keep asking God, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? What did you make me to do? Because I know that I'm supposed to be doing something bigger and greater than what I'm doing now. But I want to tell you that this faithful God, a God who saw a woman with so many broken pieces, said to me, I'm a master craftsman. Reminded me of the Japanese art that Rachel reminded us of this morning, of this week, kintsugi, the art where the Japanese craftsman would fix broken pottery with liqueur mixed with powdered gold. And the philosophy behind that is not to hide the history of that object by trying to make it flawless, but to celebrate its imperfection and beauty. And that's what God said to me. I can take your broken pieces, I'm the master craftsman. I can put them together with something more precious than gold, and that's the blood of my son. I serve a Father who sent his only son to die on the cross so that I, someone like me, might have a chance at eternity. I serve a God who said that even though you made a wrong choice with a husband that I never planned for you, I'm going to bless you with one that's perfect for you. The one that I planned for you, who doesn't talk as much as you do, who listens twice as much. I'm trying, I'm work in progress on that part. But one who has a big heart and who's built big also, because he suits you just right. And I serve a God who blessed me with 5 children, when at a very young age, I made a decision or I was forced to have an abortion. And so I thank God that even in all that brokenness, God said, I've got a use for you.
Amen.
Don't hide that history, yes. Because through that history, the blood of my son flows through your life. And today, I can never thank God. If there's anything that I want to thank him for, it's for his faithfulness. For when he said, never will I leave you and never will I forget you, he meant it. And Pastor Paul reminded me that even times when you dropped me on my, pardon the French, my butt, he came back and lifted me up and helped me walk again to be the person I am today.
Amen.
And so I want to praise God and just conclude my testimony this morning from the words of a wonderful song that's sung by the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir. It's called Faithful to the End. And it says, when I'm feeling afraid, full of uncertainty, when the plans that I've made all fall apart, when the future's unclear, and all that I can do is wait, there is a promise echoing in my heart. He will be faithful to the end. He will provide time and time again. He will be faithful, so faithful to the end. He will be there when all else fades. His love is stronger than all my pain. He will be faithful, so faithful to the end. And the second verse says, there is grace I can't measure, mercy I don't deserve. There's forgiveness that's endless for me. Oh, what a blessed assurance, and I love this line, to know how deeply I'm loved. And I'm always reminded that he will be all that I need. So I want to challenge you this morning. If you don't know this God that I serve, you've never felt his faithfulness, today is the day that you receive him and make him your one and only. May God bless you.